Greetings. This is the introduction to the Geography 102 online accelerated/flex course for 2026. Um, Now, the key difference here is the accelerator program. So we'll get into that in a second. But first, I just recently moved from Hawaii, where I've lived for over 50 years, to Carson City, Nevada. So I'm not on island. I'm not on campus. So you're gonna have to get in touch with me largely through email. If we need to get together for a meeting, then we can set up a Zoom session for everyone to, get together and do like a Q&A or whatever issues we have to deal with. I've also got a website where I have my projects. I have to update it since, again, I've just moved and I've got projects I'm doing here in Nevada, but I don't have those up yet. So I have to sort of apologies. I thought I was going to get it done during the holidays, and that didn't happen. But if you go to my Great Sage Project website, you'll see the projects that I'm working on now, most of which are still current. This particular course is looking at the regions of the planet. It's, in my view, especially today in 2026, it's probably one of the most critical courses that people can take. And part of that is simply because one of the depressing aspects of American society is Americans are clueless about anything. I would argue Americans are clueless out of anything outside of their own neighborhood, but certainly not certain outside of their own state, for example. Um, I think it's the last time they did a study was back in the around 2000 or something like that, and was it something like 75 or 80% of Americans couldn't identify the states that surrounded the state they lived in. And it's even worse when you deal with foreign countries. Americans have no idea where they are on the planet, and they don't have any idea where any place else on the planet is. So this course, especially in the world we live in, is absolutely critical because place matters. Just ask anywhere else on the planet. So the textbook for the class, I'm ambivalent about the textbook. He had an earlier version that was actually I really liked, and it was very regional based, which is how I see the world. This is his new one. It's not regional based. He's making an argument that regionality is now non-existent in the mid 2020s, and that what things have now shrunk down is to basically the idea of the nation or the state. Um, I don't actually agree with that point of view, but I can't argue against it because, the evidence actually supports him, not me. So on one hand, I'm ambivalent about this text because I guess maybe what it is, I don't like the message that it sends in some ways. But on the other hand, I can't argue with the fact that it's a legitimate and probably accurate message. It also has the advantage in the way that the course is structured. I still structure the course in from a regional perspective. And so actually now what happens is this textbook complements the way that I'm handling the class, but it doesn't repeat it. It's very well written. This guy is a reporter for Reuters or A&P or something. I can't remember who, but anyways, he's a professional writer. He's not an academic, and they're very very well written chapters of this. They're very easy to read. I think you'll find them really interesting. In some cases, rather terrifyingly compelling. So that's your text. Again, I'm not thrilled with the standpoint or the perspective it takes, but I have to argue. I think he's probably right. So it's a good book for you guys to have. You also have to have access to Google Earth. Again, I don't have any sympathy with someone that says they don't. You can get this on this is now a phone app. It's available on just every platform I can think of. This is not Google Map. Google Map is a dysfunctional way to get lost. Google Earth is actually looking at the planet around us. And I want you to be able to use it. I want you to be familiar with it. This is probably the easiest way to get some sense of place in terms of where we are on the planet and what other places look like. I should also warn that if you get used to using it, it's also can be highly addictive. I've worked with Google since they started developing Earth way back before you guys were born, I guess. So yeah, I'm way too familiar with Google Earth. And if you go to my website, you'll see that we use it in our projects. So get familiar with it. It's a good tool to have. And you'd be surprised how having competency in Google Earth is oftentimes can be a compelling argument for careers, not for a career in total, but in terms of enhancing your ability to either get a career or expand on your career. So Okay, now the key thing with this class, as with all my classes, is critical thinking exercises. There's a discussion of them here. You see it in the up on the image. There's 5 of them. This is pretty typical of all the classes. We're going through stuff this semester. Let me just segue down to the schedule. As we go through stuff this semester, we're going through different parts of the plan and we're going through issues in these different places. As you come across these, I want you to find ones that are either interesting, maybe from personal standpoints, personal exposure, or compelling, maybe from a professional perspective, that you want to look at in more detail. I want you to take some aspect of that particular issue or topic and develop a point of view from how you view it or interpret it or analyze it. And then you have to back that up with evidence. These are what are called critical thinking exercises. They're not opinion papers. Opinion papers, go to Instagram, you're going to find a gazillion of them. I could care less. They're a waste of your time to even look at. A critical thinking paper is different because it says, okay, I think this, and this is why I think this. It's the why I think this, the evidence behind it that makes it a critical thinking exercise. You have 5 of these during the semester, and they're done in chunks, based on the materials that we're covering in terms of the regional topics. So find some particular issue or topic for the first couple of them at least. Check with me before you start, so I can let you know if I think that's going to be doable. In many cases, people initially pick stuff that's way too large. And I can tell them, no, shrink this down to something like smaller, da, 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 da. So check with me for the first couple of critical thinking exercises. One of the problems you have in this semester, because this is an accelerated or what we used to call flex semester, is you basically only have 3 months to get this stuff done. It's not hard to get it done in that amount of time if you're good with time management. If you're lousy at time management and you like to procrastinate, then you might want to rethink taking this class in this format, because it's also offered in the regular spring day, because you're going to be in a world of hurt. You've got to get this stuff done on time, because these critical thinking exercises are occurring real fast one after the other, because this semester ends for you guys on the 23rd of March. That is a long ways down the road. So you got to be able to pace yourself. So do check with me, get started on these, and try getting the material done. You don't get in trouble for getting stuff done early, but you obviously can't get it done late. You also have your last of these, the 6th one, or if you want to call it, is a presentation blog. You can think of this as an expanded version of a critical thinking exercise. Again, I want you to have a particular topic or issue that you have a point of view or analysis of, and then present it in the sense of, here's what I say, and again, here's the evidence to support it. But in this case, you're doing this if you were going to post it on Instagram or on X or whatever. And so it would be consumed by other people. If you're going to have an opinion, especially on something that's regional, I can guarantee someone's not going to like it. So even more so, you want to get used to the idea that when you post something, you have evidence to back up your point of view. And so that's what the presentation blog is. If you want to think of it this way, it's a more detailed public version of a critical thinking exercise. The other 2 parts of your grade are the reaction papers. You have a number of videos to watch during the semester. Read the questions that I've posted before you watch the video. The questions are there to give you a reason to watch the video. The reaction papers are reacting to the questions I've asked. You're not going to get graded on the length. You're not going to get graded on, the level of detail. I just want you to react to them. The reaction papers are critical, especially in a semester like this, because if you don't get these done, then you're not going to get the semester done. If you can't take the time to figure out how to put in a 15-minute video and do, 5-minute reaction to it, then there's no way in hell that you're going to get the critical thinking exercises done and get all the rest of the coursework done. So the reaction papers are really handy because they're sort of like a warning light that your time management and your ability to handle the semester is falling apart. So you want to make sure that you keep up on these. They're a real good litmus test for me in terms of whether people are keeping track of their time. The last of the map quizzes, again, I mentioned this is the start. Americans are abysmally ignorant of where they are on the planet, and they're also ignorant of every place else on the planet. And so in that context, you have a set of map quizzes, very clever company has a free website for you to take these quizzes. Do them. What I want from you is what was your score? I'm sort of keeping track over the years of, on Excel on just exactly what the scores are from year to year. And it's been really interesting how, well, I suppose it's also depressing, how people's understanding of the world around them or their understanding of place really hasn't developed at all, despite the growth of social media and access to the internet and all sorts of ways, shapes, and forms. We're, if anything, more clueless about the world around us than we were 20 years ago. And I find that surreal for a bunch of reasons. So do the map quizzes. They don't take very long. And again, just give me your score. I want to know which, if you got 80%, 70%, 90%, whatever. All of that is your grade. Now, the key is just to reemphasize in this semester is that you've got a very short period of time. The great attractiveness of an Accel-Flex program is you can get through a course real quick. On the other hand, if you don't have good time management skills, what that means, you're going to fail a course really quick. So you've got to keep up on this stuff. You can't get behind. If you're having trouble in time management, again, I would, within the first couple of weeks, you should have some idea of that. Just, are you getting the reaction papers done? Are you getting the map quizzes done? Then contact our service, our counseling center. They're very good at helping you in terms of time management skills. And they're very familiar with us. They see this on a daily basis. So get help. Contact me. Again, I can't meet with you physically because I'm not on campus anymore. But we can certainly set up a time. But I can guarantee if you have issues, others do. So it makes more sense if we needed to actually talk and dialogue. I can set up a Zoom session. We can set up a time for everyone to sort of meet and do a Q&A or whatever else we need. So that's it for the semester. It's a very compressed semester. So I would recommend that you use the dates that I've got on here. These are sort of artificial. If you get stuff done ahead of time, great. But think of these. I would really think of these end dates as due dates. So don't get lured into the idea that, well, it's on a flex schedule. I can sort of get stuff done when I want. No. You've only got 3 months. So with that, let's have a good semester.